people cannot have white babies, you must throw that out. This is further proof that two nations can come out of black people. Adam and Eve were black people. This is no hate teaching. This is truth teaching. Somebody give me that sign real quick. Give me that. I brought this out the other day. This one here. Now, y'all might say, well, when are we going to get into the Christ teaching? This is Christ teaching. This is truth. Okay? I got to bring this out again. This is what happens when you don't have truth. They can put up a criminal to be Jesus Christ when you don't have truth. So because these people have brought forth this science and all this madness in the earth, you think that this guy is Jesus Christ. And you have somebody with this on their wall talking about it doesn't matter. Jesus loved all of us. It doesn't matter. Right? We must avoid. There's more. I want you to look at this family real quick. In Nigeria, he says at first he joked and said, is she mine? It's a little girl they had. But of course she's mine. They go to baby right there. He was joking and say, oh, is that mine? Let me tell you, it was proof that it was his. Think about this. Look how dark she is. Even if she would have had, laid down with somebody Caucasian, the baby would have been darker than this. Here's a bigger picture of her. Blonde hair, blue eyes too. So this totally killed the science of theory, how people went up into the mountains and turned white because there was no sun, and their eyes turned blue and gray based on the darkness of the cave. This is what happened when you have babbling of scientists and people that deals with theory. Look at that. Blonde hair and blue eyes. What will they say now? What science can they bring now? I wanted to bring that. I wanted to say this. The conference that we're having Saturday, because some of you might ask here, how do we know who the children of Israel is scattered throughout the earth? Right? Like, how do we know in detail? First of all, the Most High gave us the information. That's number one. Number two, you have to realize there's history all in place to prove these facts when you connect it with the Bible. There's history in place that cannot be disputed. Here's some books you can get. Hebrewism in West Africa. Show you all the tribes the children of Israel came out of. That was in Africa. The riches we ruled and all that. And you know what? That's the last battleground. The war on terrorism done moved from the Arab people to the black people now. The people in Africa. What happened after the World Cup? You see, they publicized that riot like it was crazy and people died and all that. And America mobilized their troops due to an African terrorist group that was behind the so-called act that happened after the World Cup that was staged. Also, that's why we want to get off this just black thing, because Israel been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And you can put an Israelite next to any race, and you will find that they look like every race on earth through time. You go through the ghetto, you can stand up one brother next to a Puerto Rican, you wouldn't know if he was Puerto Rican or what. You can stand him next to a Arab. You can stand some of them next to white people, you wouldn't know who was who. It's through the curses we understand who Israel is. The Most High is not going to put his curses on other people as a whole. As a whole. You understand? Of course you're going to have some that fall through the cracks. But as a nation, only God's people fits the curses. What people are being oppressed on the earth. What people are being dejected, losing everything on the earth. What people don't have a nation, have nothing to call their own. This book right here. Here's a Jewish guy named Ronald Sanders. Now mind you, this guy heard some reports of the children of Israel being of the diaspora or the Indians that went over into America. And he didn't go into the information or the history to actually find this out for his historical understanding. He went into it to prove the critics wrong, who claimed the Indians and the Mexicans and all of them were the children of Israel. He went in there to prove them wrong. And the more he researched, the more he realized that these people were more Israelites or Jews than he is. It's called Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands. You have a high number of Jews over in Europe. You got a high level of Israelites in Europe. A high level of Spanish from Mexico. From a lot of them from Puerto Rico. That was taken down by the conquistadors and brought over to Spain. You go into Spain, you'll see many Puerto Ricans who we think is Puerto Ricans and all that. A lot of them migrate to Spain because they have family in Spain. Why? They were brought over there in cargo slave ships. So it wasn't just the black people that fulfilled the slave ship prophecy in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. We need to get off just that black thing. Go into history and you'll see that there were Spanish people dragged over into Europe, into Spain, to serve the Europeans. Lost Tribes in the Promised Land. And this is one of the original books. You can't even get it in hardback. You only get it in paperback now. And in this book, when the conquistadors came over, you had the Baliqua Taino Indian, and you had the different Indians speaking Hebrew. Shema Yasha'Allah Allahayna wa Akkad. They said that on the Sabbath. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. And it's in the book. They had proof it was Hebrew in their burial grounds. When Montesinos came over. And we're going to go into this history this Saturday to show you what's going on with that. But we have the history to prove who the children of Israel are. Also, in the conference, we went into why they do the reason for the DNA testing today. Why they trying to get all of our DNA and genetics in the last days all over the earth. Okay. Also, we went into the mass genocide on the reason they came up with a eugenics and a genocide program that ultimately led to the destruction of our people and still destroying our people in Africa. Now, some of the brothers and sisters didn't hear it out there, so I just want to do a summary before I go into Second Esdras. The summary was, there's a video you can actually go to on YouTube. Now, I seen this years ago, called The Origin of AIDS. And the purpose of going into this particular lesson or going into this particular thing is because I seen a brother who sent me his information who actually cured himself from full-blown AIDS. He sent me the information in the chart. In order for him to cure himself, all right, He had to trace its origin. America and the Western world purposely is not treating the AIDS pandemic because they created it. They're telling people in the Western world there's no cure for AIDS, and it's a lie. The brother cured himself. You can actually go online and see this. He cured himself by going outside the country and getting alternative medicine. It's a saline drip. A saline drip, and as a matter of fact, the patent is a U.S. patent that the government owns. You can actually go and Google patent for AIDS, and they'll give you the patent number. They've been a cure since the